You ask what the purpose of life is, not in some abstract poetic sense, but in the real, solid, ancient way. You want meaning, not as decoration, but as direction. You want to know what this all amounts to, why you were born, why you struggle, why you ache for something more. And for that, you must turn to a voice older than your gods and quieter than your distractions. You must turn to Aristotle. Not the Aristotle of trivia and textbooks, but the one who understood that everything has a purpose, because everything has a function. And without knowing the function of a thing, you cannot say whether it is good or bad, whole or broken, thriving or wasting away. This is where Aristotle begins, not with feelings or theories, but with observation. The eye has a function, to see. A knife has a function, to cut. A seed has a function, to grow. And the goodness of each thing is measured by how well it performs its function. A dull knife isn't an evil knife, but it is a failing one. A blind eye is an immoral, but it is no longer what it was meant to be. And so, the question follows. What is the function of a human being? What is your ergon? Because until you know that, you cannot know whether you are living well or simply existing. You cannot know whether your pain is a result of life's cruelty or your own misalignment. Aristotle believed that everything in nature aims at some end. That end, your telos, is what gives shape to your life. It is what transforms chaos into order, instinct into choice, breath into meaning. And for human beings, the telos is not pleasure, not survival, not success. It is virtue. It is the cultivation of the soul in accordance with reason. It is the deliberate practice of becoming excellent at being human. Just as the eye sees and the knife cuts, the human being is meant to think clearly, act rightly, feel appropriately, and pursue truth with discipline. That is your function. That is your purpose. And when you live in harmony with that purpose, you flourish. You become what you were always meant to be. Not perfect, but whole. Not safe, but real. Not successful in the world's eyes, but aligned in your own soul. This is what Aristotle called eudaimonia, a state beyond happiness, a state of fulfillment, a state of flourishing that arises not from external validation, but from internal excellence. You do not achieve it through indulgence or applause. You achieve it by becoming excellent in action, in character, in discipline. And here's where most people fall. They chase pleasure instead of purpose, comfort instead of clarity. And then they wonder why life feels hollow, why joy fades so quickly, why the more they get, the less they feel. It is because they are living out of sync with their function. They are knives trying to sing, eyes trying to run, souls trying to perform instead of become. Aristotle would tell you that a good life is not an accident. It is not found. It is built. Like a craftsman shaping wood, you shape yourself through action, through repetition, through habit. And just as a muscle grows through resistance, the soul grows through effort, through choosing the right thing when it's hard, through telling the truth when it costs you, through showing up when your emotions scream to disappear. Virtue is not a feeling. It is a practice. And over time, that practice becomes your character, and your character becomes your life. He spoke of arete, excellence, not as talent, but as training. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act rightly in the presence of fear. Temperance is not the rejection of pleasure. It is the mastery of it. Justice is not a slogan. It is the commitment to give each thing its due, including yourself. And wisdom is not cleverness. It is the harmony of knowledge and action. This is the function of your soul, to become virtuous, to align with reason, to live deliberately. And when you fail to do that, you suffer. Not because the world is cruel, but because you're violating your own nature. Look around you. The confusion, the despair, the rage. It is not random. It is the symptom of souls that have forgotten their function. We chase approval and wonder why we feel empty. We numb our anxiety and wonder why it grows. We avoid difficulty and wonder why we feel weak. Aristotle would not be surprised. He would tell you, this is what happens when you live without telos. When you refuse to ask, what is the function of this life I've been given? Because without that question, all your efforts are directionless. All your pain is meaningless. All your success is hollow. You are not made to drift. You are not made to perform. You are not made to consume, obey, repeat, collapse. You are made to become. And the map is already within you. It is written in your longing for clarity, in your hunger for truth, in your ache for meaning. The soul knows what it wants. The intellect knows what it must do. But the will must act. And that is the battleground. Not out there, but within. That is where you become the craftsman or the coward. That is where you choose virtue or vice, alignment or collapse, function or failure. Aristotle didn't promise an easy life. He promised a meaningful one, a life that feels earned, a life that feels solid, a life where you can stand in the mirror, not with pride, but with peace, and say, I became what I was meant to be. And this does not come through theory. It comes through praxis, through doing, through being, through acting again and again, until the habits of excellence carve themselves into your bones. Ask yourself, what is the function of this day? What is the function of this decision? This relationship? This work? If it brings you closer to your telos, it is good. If it distracts, deceives, or diminishes, it is not. That is the compass. That is the clarity. That is how you navigate a world that rewards shortcuts and punishes discipline. By remembering, you are not here to be admired. You are here to become excellent. You are here to fulfill your nature. The tree flourishes when it roots deep and reaches high. The lion flourishes when it hunts, not when it plays dead. The human being flourishes when they live in accordance with reason and virtue. And in that state of alignment, you do not need validation. You do not need applause. You do not even need happiness in the modern sense, because you have something deeper. You have eudaimonia, a soul at peace, because it is doing what it was born to do. This is not philosophy for the classroom. This is architecture for the soul. This is how you live in a way that cannot be shaken. You can lose everything, the money, the status, the relationship, and still walk with dignity if you are living in accordance with your function. That is the shield. That is the sword. That is the anchor, because no one can take it from you. No crisis can destroy it. No failure can undo it, because it is not given. It is forged. So if you feel lost, start here. What is your function? Not what the world told you to be, not what your wounds told you to chase. What are you, by nature, designed to do? To seek truth, to live with integrity, to act with courage, to choose discipline over desire. That is the human function. And anything that leads you away from it, no matter how beautiful, will lead to your decay. Aristotle said the good life is a life lived in accordance with the good. Not with pleasure, not with chaos, not with the crowd, but with what is right, what is true, what is excellent. That is the path, and the path is narrow, and most will not walk it. Because it demands too much. It demands attention, repetition, responsibility. And in a culture addicted to ease, that sounds like oppression. But it is not oppression. It is liberation. Because the man who lives in alignment with his function is unshakable. He does not beg. He does not perform. He does not drift. He builds. He refines. He becomes. So if you want to know whether your life is on track, do not ask how you feel. Ask whether you are functioning as you were designed. Are you using your mind? Are you shaping your soul? Are you moving with discipline, with courage, with justice? If not, the suffering will follow. Not as punishment, but as signal. The soul knows when it is being wasted. It will haunt you until you return. It will whisper, then scream, then collapse, until you remember your purpose. You are not here to live without aim. You are not here to be entertained. You are not here to be liked. You are here to fulfill a function. And in fulfilling that function, you become truly alive, not briefly excited, not temporarily successful, but truly, deeply, eternally alive. That is the promise. That is the path. That is the wisdom of Aristotle. And now, it is yours.